Hello, my name is Melissa Moloney and I work with the Rural Strategy and Social Enterprise Unit in the Department of Rural and Community Development. Thank you to the National Federation of Group Water Schemes for inviting us to participate in today's webinar. I'll be presenting to you on our rural future, the Rural Development Policy for 2021 to 2025. I'd like to share my presentation with you now. As you can see from this slide, our vision is for a rural Ireland which is integral to our national economic, social, cultural and environmental well-being and development. It was very important for us when we were developing this policy that our focus was not solely on the economic aspect of development, but that we had a very holistic approach to well-being, and it included the social, cultural and environmental aspects. The policy is a very new approach to rural development. It is a whole of government policy, which can be seen from the number of commitments that are contained in the policy and how the number of departments that have actions under those commitments is spread across the whole of government. The policy is very ambitious and has a time frame of 5 years. And as I mentioned, it focuses on not just the economic, but also on the social, cultural and environmental development of rural Ireland. It has an underlying theme of sustainability. And this is not just from an environmental aspect, but also on the sustainability of communities, regions and economies. The policy emphasises the interdependency of rural and urban areas because we really want to move away from the narrative of rural versus urban. And we all know how intertwined rural and urban areas are in terms of how we live, how we work, how we engage. The policy advocates an integrated place-based approach to rural development, and that encourages local governance, local decision-making and community engagement. The policy aims to maximise the impact, coherence and effectiveness of investment. And we have seen the funding that has continuously increased to support the development of rural Ireland over recent years, not just from the Department of Rural and Community Development, but across government who really see rural Ireland as a priority. The consultation process was very extensive for this policy and in fact was informed by a number of different formats with our stakeholders. It started actually at the end of 2018 and we started hosting regional consultations across the nation, including the Aran Islands, and we had approximately 500 people attend those consultations. We also held 2 specific workshops which were dedicated to young people to hear about their challenges, but also to hear about the opportunities that they thought would support them as they became the future voices of rural Ireland. We hosted 2 public town hall events and we also had an online survey, and we were delighted to have over 1,700 responses to that. When the pandemic hit in February 2020, we had to reassess and review the policy and its content and ensure that all of the material contained within it, the objectives and the commitments, were really appropriate for rural Ireland in a post-COVID-19 situation. We truly believe that our rural future responds to the issues that were identified across this extensive consultation process. As you can see here, the policy has a focus on quite a number of themes, very comprehensive, and there are over 150 commitments across the whole of government, and almost every government department has measures for delivery contained in this policy. Of course, we're all familiar now with the opportunities from high-speed broadband and how remote working can transform how we work and the flexibility associated with working. We want to see people in rural areas supported in their employment with meaningful careers and job opportunities. We want to see the revitalisation of rural towns and villages, and to really see communities as hubs and vibrant places where people can live and work. The policy also has a focus on enhancing the participation and leadership and resilience of rural communities. And this ties in with the place-based approach and how communities can be empowered and enabled in their own decision-making. The policy also has a focus on providing enhanced public services, and these are basic essential services which promote equality across the whole of Ireland. The policy supports young people, and our first Rural Youth Assembly should be held later this year in conjunction with youth organisations to allow young people to have a voice. The policy supports a just transition, and this again is very important across the whole of government, that we move towards a climate neutral society and that we can seize any new opportunities in these new and upcoming green and circular economies. As I mentioned earlier, the theme of sustainability really underpins this policy, and the policy supports sustainability in terms of sectors such as agriculture, the marine and forestry, but also sustainability in terms of succession. So we would like to see more young people and more females involved in these sectors. And finally, but not least, the policy also wishes to ensure the sustainability of the island and coastal communities, which are not solely rural, but are also peripheral and often have heightened challenges. And the policy supports the nurturing of our culture and heritage. This policy supports the delivery of other key government policies, such as the National Planning Framework, Project Ireland 2040, the National Development Plan, the Climate Action Plan, and so on. The policy also supports the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, and in fact, each of the measures for delivery in the policy is aligned with at least one of these SDGs. In terms of investment, certainly there has been a commitment across the whole of government to provide funding to rural Ireland and to prioritise some of these investments. We've seen the rollout of the delivery of high-speed broadband, and our own department administers the Rural Regeneration and Development Fund. Funding has been allocated to the Urban RDF and also to the Town Centre First initiative, which hopes to address vacant properties and really encourage town centre living. Certainly most of us will have enjoyed the benefits of nature throughout the summer and throughout COVID indeed, and we'll have seen the benefits of monies invested in cycling infrastructure and in walking trails, green trails and blueways. There has also been significant investment in remote working infrastructure. Some other new measures contained in the policy include supporting rural communities to develop master plans so that they can meet the long-term needs of their area. This again ties in with the integrated and place-based approach that this policy advocates, supporting community engagement and encouraging local people to have their voices heard. The policy also pilots new rural transport initiatives, and it will assess the use of rural pubs as community spaces and hubs in local areas. Another key measure is to prioritise regional sites for new government offices or public agencies, and to develop and implement key strategic plans across a number of sectors, including agri-food, islands, and outdoor recreation. In terms of delivery, the policy will be implemented over the next 5 years with a time frame until 2025. During that time, we will deliver annual work programmes and progress reports twice a year. The 2021 work programme has been published, and of the 152 commitments contained, 128 of them will be delivered or substantially advanced by the end of this year. The first progress report is due to be published at the end of this year. But our rural future is not a finite document. In fact, it is a living document, and it was very important for us to emphasise that we would continue our engagement and prioritise ongoing engagement with our stakeholders. As commitments are delivered, we encourage new commitments to be added to the measures for delivery. So you may ask, what difference will all of this make? Well, ultimately, what the policy hopes to achieve is that more people will be living and working in rural Ireland. We want to see rural towns as vibrant hubs for commercial and social activity, and we want to see reduced regional income disparities to promote equality of opportunity across the nation. We want to see improved access to public services, including transport links, to encourage that connectivity. And we want to see rural Ireland benefiting from the transition to a more sustainable future. We want to see rural communities, and particularly young people, having a say, having an active role in shaping their future to enable and empower them to make a difference in their local area. Thank you very much for your time. Unfortunately, we're unavailable to participate in the live questions and answers, but we would love to hear your feedback, and I have included our email address for correspondence. So please do send your emails to rural.strategy@drcd.gov.ie. Thank you very much.